Hey everybody, this is Andre from Market Scripters, and we are looking at the RSI plus indicator. This is our RSI divergence indicator, and not gonna lie, this one's pretty slick. I like how this one turned out. I had the idea for it. I wanted to bring RSI onto the chart, and that is what you're seeing here. So this is gray line, you can see there's filled green and red areas, but the gray line that outlines those is essentially RSI brought onto the chart. And I can show you that here. If we bring in just our normal RSI, relative strength index, I'm going to pause this for just a second. Now, you can see it more or less matches. So what's going on here is RSI goes between 0 and 100, and that obviously that range will not work on the chart. So I had to manipulate the data so it looks correct on this chart and fluctuates around price. But you can see these peaks, these peaks match more or less, and without getting too much into the details of how it was brought onto the chart. But you can see, what we're looking at as far as this gray line is RSI. And we're looking at the S&P, and okay, here we're getting some signals. You can see this is a divergence. So let me bring that RSI back up actually and show you what this has done for you. So typically you would draw an RSI divergence between, I'm just going to use these points that it used, right, between a lower high on the RSI down here and a higher high on the price up here. And so we can see that is a divergence. Now this indicator calculates it all for you. And I'm going to play this again. You can see here price does come down. I think in this one it takes a minute. It thinks about it for a little bit. But what's cool about this indicator is you don't have to have the oscillator down here at the bottom. You don't have to draw the lines yourself. You don't have to ask, is this a divergence? Is it hidden? Is it not? Is it an actual one I should trade? This is going to do all of that for you. And these triangles, these signals are where it sees that divergence as it's building. You can see here on the RSI as well, like any of these points, could have been considered a divergence. And so that's more or less what you're seeing here is there's these multiple points. And once you see that peak is hit, plus there's an overbought signal here as well, then you can say, okay, that's the time it might be coming down. And then here's an interesting thing too. On actual RSI, here we see a much lower high, and this high actually is higher than this one. So that gives you another divergence. And you can see that here too, right? Here's a higher high, and on the RSI line itself, there's a lower high. I'm going to keep this one playing because it's so interesting. But you can see we have a number of signals, right? One, the red area itself could be a weak sell signal. The green area itself could be a weak buy signal. These lines, the dotted lines, are the divergences. Those are the ones you really want to pay attention to. And then when the gray line, the RSI line itself, when it turns solid red instead of gray or solid green, that is the overbought and oversold areas of RSI. Here you can see we're getting a number of signals in a row, right? Again, if you looked on a normal RSI, all of these would be potentially, they would all be divergences, right? And then you can see here our indicator stopped drawing that line. So you can almost say that, this is the kind of end point, or that is the failure point in this case of that divergence. And you can see price does continue to increase. In this kind of a situation as well, when its price is relatively going parabolic on this time frame, you would want to bump up to a higher time frame and see what's happening there. Here things are getting more interesting because we have overbought and divergence is happening. And that's happening again, right? It happened right here. It's happened again here. And again, that's when you would want to pop onto a higher time frame. I think we're getting close to our Corona crash. I wanted to time this video so you would see the Corona crash, because it actually picks the bottom pretty sweetly. Here we go. We're coming down. We can see oversold. And there's our signal. Oops, sorry about that. So if you follow this indicator, you would have had 1, 2, 3, 4 chances to catch the bottom of the Corona crash. Each one actually did. You can see this. And this is what's really interesting. As I code more indicators, I see more and more how funds likely trade the market. And if you haven't read a book called Trading the Measured Move, I definitely recommend it. It tells you how, funds with tons of money have their own algorithms to trade the market. And it's based on stuff on technical analysis, like the RSI, like Fibonacci. And so look at where this signal happened, and we did bounce back. If you look at that, look at where this signal happened, and we bounced back. Look where this signal happened, and we bounced back. This one too, right? Had a hammer, and then we had a doji on the next candle. So two, bullish signals. And I see this, and I'm like, the code that I'm writing for these indicators, it's got to be pretty damn close to what, some decent sized funds are using for their own logic, because it just lines up. Look at that. It just lines up so nicely. Now, one thing I want to do is kind of calculate what is the average number of signals that you get before price actually turns around, right? So here you can see there were 4. Here there were 4. So maybe 4 is a good number. Again, here there were 4, but price didn't come down. Here there was, 7? This was a parabolic phase, so that might be, not the best area to listen to. Maybe we kind of count this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then price came down in a parabolic scenario. So I want to do more mathematics to make these, a little bit more statistical and get some numbers for you guys who want to use this, because it's pretty powerful. I mean, look at this. Every signal, there was a bullish candle immediately after. And on the 4th one, that's when we really turned around here. So let's talk about settings real quick. Let me close out of this. Right, this is what we were just looking at here. Here you can see we came back up. Eventually, we got red and then overbought. I always flip those around. Overbought happened right here, right at literally, at this peak. These 2 candles signified oversold, overbought. I think red sell, I think sold, right? But no, this is overbought. And that signaled the top of this. I mean, look at this. It's pretty ridiculous. As far as settings for this indicator, very, very simple. I like having my indicators be simple. You're going to see 2 settings. I might even bring this down to 1. Basically, plot signals. That's if you want to see the triangles or not, right? Do you want to see all the places where the green line appeared or moved? Right here, there's one green line because this is the origination point of the divergence, what we're comparing against. And it drew itself at this candle first, where this triangle is, and then it adjusted to this one, then it adjusted to this one, and then it adjusted to this one, and that's the last one you're seeing here. And if you want to see every place where that happened, that's what plot signals is. We can turn that off and just see the divergence lines themselves. Now, size, just like the other indicators I've created, if you've kind of followed along, size just tells you, what size divergence do I want to look for? If I make this a 3, you're going to see the lines get shorter because we're going to be looking for tighter divergences. Let's see if I bring this down to a 1, if we get anything more interesting. So, these lines are going to be shorter. You're going to see smaller moves, kind of like this one here, right? And those are moves that weren't necessarily captured. Here's an interesting one, right? With the size 1, you get this move here. With plot signals, that might have printed all the way down. Okay, you get still a number of signals there. Right, so this was originally on size 8, which I think is a decent setting. That's what I like. Let me move this up here. You know, if you want to go for something a lot bigger, let's say, I don't know, it's 17. You might start seeing moves like this. Here's a really interesting one. This was actually pretty damn perfect. There's probably just a couple signals up here. I think that's 2 triangles. And then, let's see, we get 1, 2, 3, about 6 on the way down. But that caught this top just beautifully. Look at that. God, that just blows my mind sometimes. This parabolic region here, you know, not great. Take a look at a higher time frame. But here we get, what's that, 4, maybe 5 signals before that bottom. And then a real sharp oversold. Look at that. And that's basically bottom there. So you can play with the settings if you'd like. I like size 8. You can always add this multiple times if you want and be looking for different size divergences at the same time. But that's what I like there. That's basically it, guys. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below, or reach out in our Discord, or reach out in TradingView, Market Scripters. And if you want access, don't hesitate to reach out, shoot us a message. We'll have a sign-up form on our website. Definitely check it out there. And any other questions, please shoot them our way. Please shoot them my way. I really like this indicator, and hey, I'm always looking to improve and looking to make these better as well. So any suggestions you have, any recommendations, potential bug fixes, you know, definitely please let me know. And yeah, that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoy.